it's like I thought about it for a split second, or stuff that I didn't even think about at all, but I wanted it unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
Like the desire was there, but I didn't vocalize it. I didn't clarify or specify it. And still it showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's fun to journal about too. Like what state of being was I in when that all happened? What state of being was I in when I received the thing that I wanted to receive? And looking at the way that the energy is working. And it works for me on many multiple planes. I mean, in different ways. Sometimes I just, like today, it was just emptiness, stillness, silence. I mean, not even any music, bubble bath, rest, rejuvenation, meditation. And I just gave that to myself for the whole day. And things just flowed right in. I mean, that's usually when I receive the biggest manifestations, when I take massive action and then I give myself that space. And I listen to myself too. I feel like that's very important to do. So if you're watching this right now, to stay fluid and continuously listen to yourself. So for me, I mean, if I get divine guidance to do anything, it doesn't really matter what it is, to email my list, to make a connection, to go for a run, whatever it is, to receive for a day. And as I listen to myself and as I listen to my intuition and my guidance, everything shows up. And so there's no, I mean, I live purely in flow, and that's a reason I'm so thankful that I have my business too. Because even growing up, I just didn't get it. I'm like, why is somebody dictating when I wake up, when I go to sleep, when I'm going to do what with my time and how and all of this. And so I wanted time freedom, energy freedom, money freedom, space, space freedom to do what I wanted when I wanted to do it. And so if you have the ability in your life to be that fluid, then do that. And this is just about being present. And you and I talked about this a bit last night after we hopped off the recording, around ultimately a lot of the challenges in the tests that we go through, things that are often referred to as karmic cycles or karmic connections, and all of this, entanglements, giving our power away, all of that. All of those scenarios are masterfully designed to help us shift totally into presence so that we can stay fully connected to our power and our intuition and our guidance and do what is best for us from moment to moment to moment to moment, and to really trust that flow. Because if you think about what an actualized aspect of source energy is, it's fully present. It's fully present in the now. It doesn't exist in linear time. And so on some level, we'll be guided into that on this journey to shift more deeply and more deeply, more deeply into presence, because that's where all the power is. That's where all the magic is. That's where everything goes down. That's where creation happens consciously. I mean, that's unconscious creation is simply creating outside of the present. I mean, it's when we're not present and our mind is kind of running a pattern or a karmic cycle. It's a way of thinking. It's an unconscious way of thinking and cycling through loops, thought loops. And so we come into these situations that will challenge us to stay incredibly present. And what we were talking about this last night, I can think of a few scenarios in my life that provide that opportunity for me to continuously expand and deepen into more and more presence. But it's so electric there. It's electric, it's magnetic, because you're fully powered, you're fully charged. You're not streaming your energy away to someone, something, some scenario that's not there with you. And often when we do that, if we're not masters of our mind, we can start running loops that we really don't want to create. And so that becomes an unconscious creation, because we're just playing a story over and over and over, and it doesn't match up with what it is that we actually want to experience. So the more present we can get, like just in it, in the moment, engaged, at one with whatever it is that we're doing, like super laser focused and tuned into the now, we unlock so much energy potential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'd say a lot of that energy can get trapped or stuck when you receive something or you create something that your conscious self didn't want to create.
Mm-hmm.
If you just stay in the energy of knowing that you're constantly creating and constantly receiving and not resisting what does come into your reality, if it is something you don't consciously want, I think that's where people kind of get plateau
Mm-hmm.
or get stuck, is when something shows up and I didn't want this. This is not how I wanted it. This is not what I wanted to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Let your energy continue to flow. Just say to yourself, okay, I created this for a reason. I received this for a reason. Part of me wanted this because of A, B, and C. Thank you for showing up in my reality. So this is shining a light on a part of my unconscious that now I can integrate or I can release or let go of so I don't create it again. That's how you keep your energy cycling and your energy flowing. And I think it's also important to note finding balance between the electric energy and the magnetic energy, because you can hold space and be in the space of both at the same time, or you can ebb in and out, back and forth in that flow, whichever feels more natural to you. It's instant manifestation that happens when you're holding both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like today, like sometimes you're called to just really be in that receiving energy, and that's okay. Because there's always an ebb and a flow to it. You never need to be in one or the other to manifest something new or something more expanded. The energy will tell you what state you need to be in to allow that to happen.
Yeah, and I love that you just mentioned occupying them both simultaneously, because ultimately that's what the energy will guide you into. And that's really the gift of presence, because we're occupying both at the same time. And I think for me, because it's like today, I'm going to need just one day to rest and recharge. And then I'm going to be back at it again for probably weeks. And so I can see how that's smoothing out in my own personal reality, where where I'm not even ebbing and flowing as much anymore, but it's really about occupying both simultaneously. And so it's really beautiful that you brought that up. And there's something else that was coming through while you were saying that. Oh, where is it? If there's anything that you want to add right now, go for it. I'll just pull it through.
I think also just bringing forth realizing how powerful you can be when you're in that magnetic state. So many and not equating what we're talking about when we say electric, not equating that with that pushing energy.
Yes.
Pushing just because you're in that really electric, fiery, like supercharged energy, you're not pushing. It's just you have so much energy flowing through you, the energy works for you, versus when you're magnetic, you're a little bit more still, you're a little bit more just there's less momentum outward, more open momentum inward, because you're just allowing it to come in, calling it in, and just allowing it to show up.
And so I'm glad you brought up the push energy too, because that's what they're saying. So electric energy it's inspiration. It's pure inspiration. You know, those days when you wake up in the morning and you've just got that warmth in your belly and you're so stoked to start your day and to get going and to share and to express yourself. So it's expression energy. It's inspired expression. Versus push, and I have to do this thing that I really don't want to do, and it feels like it's taking even my last bit of energy from me. If you're in that place, you need to receive first. You need to receive source energy first before you go and try to express, because you're expressing from an empty well. And I love that you said open. with magnetic too, because that's what it is. And the way that I see that is when I'm in that space of complete emptiness and I'm not thinking at all, the only command that I give or the only intention that I set for that space is I'm going to allow my whole self to support me right now. I'm going to receive from my whole expanded self, all aspects of consciousness and creation. I'm going to allow you all to do your thing and bring me what it is that I have been calling in. And I'm just going to receive the energy. I'm going to receive the gifts. I'm going to receive the money or the blessings or the friendships or the relationships or the connections or whatever it is, you know, I mean, there's a million and one things that we can manifest. But it's just about allowing the other aspects of self to support the individuated aspect of self. And really recognizing that it's not just in our own power, as in me, Solara, individuated Solara, creating all by myself. So when we talk about inhabiting our I am presence and it's only you and you are the creator, talking about all aspects of consciousness and creation, expanding into the bigness of that energy and opening enough and trusting deeply enough to allow all those other aspects to support you when you need to recharge, when you need to do whatever it is that you need to do for you. I mean, hey, we're here to enjoy this experience and to create. And so if there's something that you need to do for yourself, trust that as you do that, the other aspects of yourself are there at your back, and they'll support you while you take care of you, while you love you and nurture and nourish you. And so letting those ebbs and flows occur and paying attention to that too. I mean, that's something that I've been more deeply tuned into over the past, I would say 6 months in particular, looking at that, watching that gap close in a really profound way, watching, and we were talking about this not too long ago too, the highs and the lows that most people experience, going way, way, way up high and then just like dropping down low, and being up here for a certain time period and then being down here for a certain time period. So what happens is, so I see it almost like a pendulum, right? It's like we swing to this side and then this side and then this side, and that gap starts to close until you come to the center where you are embodying everything simultaneously. So it's really beautiful to watch that smooth out as well, and to pay attention to how often am I present and how often am I not present. Because that's what they keep bringing me back to, is to just pay attention. Pay attention. I mean, really, and that's another way to say present. Pay deep attention to the moment that you are in, and that's how you can start freeing up a lot of that energy too. Where am I? Am I floating way up here? Am I way off over here somewhere? Or am I paying deep attention to the now? And that's really another way to open up your gifts too, is when you're paying super close attention to what's happening.
Oh yeah, that's how you realize all of your gifts, is just having that inner awareness, because it's all already been going on.
Yeah.
The more you go within, the more you have that awareness within. You're not pushing, you're not shoving, you're not looking, you're not searching, you're just being within, is how those things wake up. And the other thing that's coming through for me right now too is, because I'm just hearing some questions about being in the receiving state and still not receiving particular things, and to know whether or not you're really in the state or the energy of receiving is, are you enjoying? Are you fully enjoying and immersed in the moment of your stillness, of your bubble bath, of your journaling, of your eating, of your nourishing, of your replenishing, of your whatever you're doing? Are you really, or is something going on in the back of your mind? Is your energy thinking about the next thing or tomorrow or the next hour, what you didn't do, or blah, 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 blah. It's that presence and that stillness of enjoying yourself, of receiving yourself, of loving yourself. I mean, real practically, like that is the energy of being in receiving, and that's when things instantly are creative for you.
Yeah. So they're showing me like a back and forth between, I mean, you're going to shape shift in and out of a ton of different expressions. So don't like limit yourself to whatever experience you're having. So that enjoyment energy, and then also just complete emptiness. I mean, you think about when you want to create space to receive something new in your physical environment, it's the same thing in the inner world, creating space by detaching, letting go of old stories, old thought loops, old addictions is what they're saying, addictions to thinking about certain things, worry, doubt, fear-based thoughts, letting all of that go and creating empty space. So if you can't get super excited and joyful about your present moment experience, start with meditation, start with emptying yourself. And something really beautiful about meditation too is particularly if you're a person who's been through a lot of trauma, and has a lot of that really just embedded and encoded in the cellular structure, meditation will start to rewire and repattern the brain for you automatically. It'll start to align your mind with divine mind. It will help you to start creating new neural pathways, because yours are most likely crystallized and that's why those addictions can feel so strong to certain thought loops, because you are used to driving down that same road every single day for how long? Over and over and over again. So you've got to start taking a new path. And if you can't, this is why I don't ever recommend correcting mind at the level of mind, which is what a lot of mindset work tries to do. And it can be powerful temporarily. If it's not sustained, it can become a detriment. And you've got to work with the energy first. You've got to work with the energy before you start working with the mind. And so a way to do that is to go into meditation and start allowing some of those patterns of thought, those neural patterns and pathways to start rewiring themselves. All you have to do is let that divine presence in through the spaciousness, and it will start to your whole system. Yes, your brain, but your whole system, your whole mind-body system. Then you'll start to have a new outlook and a new worldview. So if you're somebody who's dealing with a lot of that trauma inside, then I would recommend shifting into meditation, because for a lot of people who are still coming out of that patterning, it's challenging to just wake up and go, oh, this is great. I'm going to enjoy my day just by conscious choice. There's more going on there. And that's why sometimes with mindset work, it's powerful. I appreciate mindset work. Mindset work has helped me tremendously, and it has helped my clients tremendously, but not before addressing the energy that's happening. If you're low energy levels, if you're stuck in traumatic patterns, and someone comes in and tells you to wake up and think abundant, feel abundant, get excited about life, they're going to be like, fuck you. Because it would create way too much resistance for them. And then when they stop doing that mindset work, it's almost like a boomerang. It's so like you're here and then you try to go here, but you don't have the necessary tools and techniques to bridge that gap permanently. So you try to go from here to here. And then as soon as you stop doing this, even for a short period of time, you boomerang all the way back. Right. And it's pretty intense. It's literally like a boomerang. And then people think something's wrong with them and they don't know how to move forward, and all of this spiraling in the wrong direction. So number one is to address your energy. And so they're showing me now to guide much of, so I'm just going to address the mass collective right now, which if you're trying to shift into a high frequency electric magnetic state where you wake up and you feel abundant and you're manifesting and you're expecting increase and you've got all these amazing clients and opportunities and resources flowing into you, and that is your normal, that is your life, and you're in a place right now where you don't even know where you would get the energy to do that, to feel that way, to be open and self-expressed in the world, to show up with your gifts, to feel confident and certain in what it is that you are doing and the message that you are bringing forth. The first thing you need to do is start meditating, start replenishing and recharging yourself. Let the divine start realigning you by just letting that presence in. Just let the energy in. And depending on where you are in your journey, that might take a day, it might take a week, it might take a month of just giving that to yourself until you feel that sense of aliveness again. So start there. Start by refueling, recharging through meditation, rest, nourishment, replenishment, and then get out there. You know, or at least balance the two. If you're not in a space where you can just really self-replenish like that for a significant period of time, then do it when you can, as much as you can. But don't just try to go from 0 to 100 without giving yourself the nourishment that you need first. Now, of course, most of the people that we work with are already at 100 and they want to go 200. And so that's a whole different ballgame. That's sustainability. That is, like you're talking about, that simultaneity of staying in the electromagnetic frequency all the time, living in receiving mode. So you're really in expression and receiving mode constantly. Both of those forces are playing with each other, dancing with each other constantly, and you're not really in the ebbs and the flows as much anymore. It's more of it's a simultaneous experience. It's total embodiment. It's sustained alignment, and it's presence. It's really, and I'm talking about, so for me, what that looks like is, even if I'm engaging in a conversation, I am paying so much attention and I'm waiting for the message that is going to come through that person. I'm looking at that person like they're about to gift me with some phenomenal wisdom or some gift from the universe or some divine universal freaking message. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so deeply attentive to what it is that's happening in front of me, whatever it is. So the first thing is to start narrowing your focus into the now.
Extremely narrowed, focused into the now. And I do appreciate you bringing up trauma. That was a huge part of my journey, was releasing that. And now I'm at the point, and this is why I talk about the physical body a lot. Now I'm at the point where I still just work with or notice areas in my physical body that tend to tense up or resist or things like that. But there's no emotional weight or attachment to any of that anymore. It's just rewiring. It's just reprogramming. That's all it is. And if you're somebody who has resistance to meditating, fall asleep to meditation, listen to binaural beats, just sleep a lot in general. I remember the days when I really first started meditating, and I couldn't get through a meditation. I would always fall asleep 100%. And that's why it's so powerful to speak to and utilize in any state of expansion, whether you're just starting out and really struggling with those big swings, or you're somebody that we work with and you're just wanting to continue to balance and expand more and more on that energy, working with your DNA, working with your cells, working with your atoms. That can shift stuff, instantly, because you just kind of go into the root of your physical being.
Yeah, that's a great way to say that. You're going right to the core. Obviously on some level, because this is where my mind goes. It's like infinitely in and infinitely out. So, but you're just getting to the core of the atoms and the photons and the particles in your cells, and you're infusing them with that source energy. And you're getting all the way in there through all of the programming, all of the patterning, and you're helping to shift and realign all of it. Mm-hmm. And that's powerful to do all the time anyways. Even just throughout my days normal, I'll take 10 minutes here and there. I'll work for a specific amount of time, and then I'll take 10 minutes and just empty my mind, and then I'll go back. It's a reboot. It's like a smart car that you go and you plug it in somewhere for a little bit, and then you're ready to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are there any questions coming through? No.
It's a very, very chill day.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very chill day. Yeah, I'm starting to feel the like witchy Halloween vibes coming in too. Pluto. Oh, is it Saturn or is it Pluto that's in Scorpio right now? I don't know, but one of those two is in Scorpio, and either way, that's a powerful placement. And so I've been feeling that scorpionic energy for the past little while, and it's so fun. But it's like that eerie, Halloweeny, witchy, dark energy. So I've been playing with that a little bit, enjoying that.
Oh yeah, I've
Um,
really been feeling into that. I love Halloween. I love this time of year. I love fall. I love the changing of the seasons. It's Jupiter and Scorpio, Christine.
Jupiter. Oh, it's Jupiter. Cool. Well, not Pluto or Saturn, but hey. Thank you, Christine. Oh,
I mean, it is new moon tomorrow, so it is definitely
yeah.
a time of emptying,
Mm-hmm.
allowing yourself to just empty out, create space, step into the void, receive, replenish, renew.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I do want to speak to a little bit of staying in balance of that magnetic electric state. Um, and the fact that it is my conscious choice whether or not I want to stay in that energy. Like
Mm-hmm.
today, very much just a magnetic receiving, chill, grounded, relaxed day. Now, if I was really that adamant about staying in that balance 24/7, could I wire myself to do that? Yes, and that is what we teach you. But I enjoy having days of space like this. It's enjoyment to me. It's enjoyment. I think I was even telling you last night about how I've always been somebody where I like to dive deep into something for hours and then shift, not just dabble here and there and whatever. So I like having longer periods sometimes of being in one energy more than the other, but that's not because it's a choice. It's always still a choice at the end of the day. It's always still a choice on whether or not, and it's not, when I say it's a choice, I'm not saying that when I'm in this energy, I push myself to be in the opposite or vice versa. There is no pushing. There's only allowing and shifting and deciding. It's a completely different momentum and movement of your energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just asked myself, what do I want to do right now? Oh, what do I want to do right now? But I know the states that feel the most empowering to me. And so I'm always trying to master those in my experience. But usually it's just about taking the resistance off. So whatever it is that I'm actually feeling, like you're saying, if I just line up with that fully, then that resistance comes off, whatever it is. And then I'm always, yeah, I mean, back in the moment, back into the aliveness of life, the magic of life, seeing that, tapping into that, and just working with the energy that is organically and naturally wanting to come through me in the moment, no matter what it is, just deciding to work with it and not against it. And that's what takes the resistance off of it needing to look a specific way. But then that will shift you right into the receptive mode. I mean, anywhere you can let resistance go.
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, I mean, really, if you're ready to expand into something new, if you're ready to receive beyond what your current capacity has been, if you've made that decision and grounded that in, 100% the only reason why it hasn't shown up is there's resistance in your energy, and it doesn't have to be. And this is why energy work is so powerful, or some of the stuff that we do, some of the techniques that you and I, different techniques that you and I use, because
Mm-hmm.
there is no fighting the mind with the mind. There is no
Mm-hmm.
going digging and looking for a reason why. Resistance is just another form of energy. That's why. That's the only reason why it's there and why it's showing up. There doesn't have to be another reason why. You don't have to look at it a million and one ways and find some logical reason or attach some story to why there's resistance in your energetic field or resistance of the thing. You just need to move it, shift it, release it, stir it up a little bit. The techniques that we work with on a hour by hour basis, not just a daily basis. Seth is asking, and I don't, but just in case you do, I'm going to bring it up because it could be an interesting discussion to what we're talking to. But Seth just says, what do you think of martial arts? I don't actually know a lot about it, but I see where it could tie into all of this.
I mean, martial arts, Qigong is like, I'm getting an image of Qigong and martial arts. I mean, I think it would be great for discipline and focus and actually learning how to master your mind, your physical body, your energy, your focus. Yeah, I mean, I think that if that's something that you're into, then it could help you to develop all of that within your energy and your body and your mind. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about it either, but that's like what comes through.
I don't either, but I mean, there is that great amount of focus and discipline and energy work that comes from certain parts of the certain types of martial arts. Amy Christine says she journals and identifies her resistance, and then she reframes it. I mean, that's definitely one way to work with it. But you don't have to do it that way if you're not called to. That was something I had to realize a long time ago because I was in resistance of my own power. I was in resistance of what actually does work for me as far as kind of magical techniques, so to speak, and energetic abilities. So I did do that stuff every day. Do I do that from time to time? I actually don't really anymore. I really don't. Every so often I'll maybe kind of write my reality here and there if it feels fun and in alignment for me, not because I'm trying to fix anything. So you can do it that way, but just make sure that you're not, it is really freaking windy. Side note.
That's awesome. I love the wind.
Yeah, these trees are like going crazy, but it feels good. Just make sure that you're not feeling like you have to do it that way, or you're getting too caught up in your head about it. Like the resistance won't go away unless I identify what it is and where it's coming from, and then I find another reason or purpose for it or whatever. Like, only do it if it feels light and easy for you, and that really does create an easy, powerful shift for you. I think that's the caveat with mindset work. And with that, allow yourself to begin to realize that there are other ways of working with and creating new energetic states for yourself.
There is a really funny thing that happens in my reality that I do. I'm not really suggesting that anyone do this unless it feels like it's fun for you. But after I invoke something, sometimes I just stop caring. I literally, like, I could care less if the thing shows up. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me if it shows up or if it doesn't show up. And in some cases, I almost like say, no, I don't want the thing. So this is why I'm suggesting don't play with this, because this is like I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend most people to play in this space, but it works really beautifully in my reality. For a multitude of reasons we won't get into now. Yeah, you can feel it. Okay, cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this, and I've played with that plenty of times before. It's like you just drop it like it's hot. You don't give a damn anymore. Like, I don't want that. No, get away. And then it just shows up, and you're like, well, fine, I guess I'll take it then. Okay, we'll see.
Right. Well, that's like a space where quantity starts to show up for me, where I'm just I'm getting the image of the woman we were talking about last night. She's like, ain't nobody got time for that. And that's what it feels like. It feels like getting in boss mode, doing a powerful invocation, and then just letting it go and actually not even caring at all if it shows up anymore, being totally fine, enjoying my present moment experience, inhabiting my own authority, inhabiting my own energy, and having zero attachment to whether or not the thing shows up. So it's a literal, I really just don't care anymore, and coming to that space inside of myself. And then it just like pours that thing into my.
Actually a very powerful thing for us to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
that is a very powerful manifestation technique of where, because you're okay, you're solid, you're grounded, you're in love, you're in joy, right where you are, right with who you are. It's
Mm-hmm.
releasing any need or attachment for the
Mm-hmm.
thing to show up in this quantity, in this way, at this time. It's not being dependent on it. It's not leaning
Mm-hmm.
on it. So that actually is really, really powerful. And it puts you, it's almost like they're showing me the attitude of like a queen or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, no, I don't want that anymore. Okay, I'll take 5 of those since you're here. That sounds good
Mm-hmm.
now. It didn't an hour ago. Oh, you're here now? I'm sorry, too late. I'm over it. Like it just, it's
Mm-hmm.
keeping you in total power and total
Sovereignty.
sovereignty.
And
Yeah.
that's what it feels. That's really exactly what it feels like to me, where it's like, this is what I want. Okay. And so they're bringing me to now, before I go into that, not getting attached to your joy, and not getting attached to your pain, and not getting attached to abundance, and not getting attached to lack. So it's really just about, yeah, being okay. And we talked about this yesterday. What if everything is okay? And just letting go, and really being so secure within yourself and your own energy, and having that be the gift that you experience on a moment to moment basis, yourself, your energy, your knowingness, your power, your internal beauty, all of this, and having that be the thing that makes you the most solid and the most secure. And yeah, you say that you want to have the experience of that thing, but you're good either way. You're totally good. It doesn't really matter. And that's a deep level of trust, a deep level of self-respect. And another thing too is there, because people can get really attached to even the joyful moments. I mean, I've got in my life right now, I've got like this whole category of all this really amazing big stuff happening. And I've got like 1 or 2 things that other people might consider big things to be happening. But it doesn't feel that way to me. And I don't feel particularly attached to either one of those things. I feel like I'm in a space of, okay, this is happening. This is how I feel about it. This is what I've decided in my reality. And this is happening. And this is really beautiful stuff. And I really love it. And I'm really thankful for it. And I'm going to appreciate it while it's here. But there's no attachment really to, or aversion either to either one of those things. Like I don't feel an aversion to the things that people might consider challenging, and I don't feel an attachment to the things that feel really good and amazing. I'm just like, okay, cool. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. I appreciate this for the way that it's helping me to stand more in my power. I appreciate this for all of the ways that I'm being shown how well I am standing in my power, and really just appreciating the fullness of those things, but not having any attachment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's such a powerful state to live in, when you're just so non-attached, because you're also non-resistant. You just
Mm-hmm.
are standing solid in your powerful force of energy. Christine is bringing up, she's asking us our favorite magical techniques, and kind of bringing up the chakras a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Favorite magical I said techniques. Um, I like to keep my manifestations really secret and private. So that's one of my favorite things because it keeps the energy really concentrated, focused, non-interference. So I'll just command things constantly all day long. I want this, I want this, I want to experience this, I'm thankful for this. And that's the discussion that happens inside of my head. And if that's not the discussion that's happening inside of my head, that's when I know I need to meditate. Or like go do something to help me let go, because that's when I know I'm playing out a pattern that I don't want to repeat. So for me, it's just literally in my own inner sanctum, choosing what it is that I want to experience and have that be, or like living in the vision of it. That's another really fun, magical thing for me too. So we're going to call this playing pretend, because on some level it's playing pretend. But it's living in the vision of what it is that you want to experience right now in this moment. Living, just imagining that you're surrounded by all the things that you're calling forth, the people that you're calling forth, the energies that you're calling forth, the creations and the abundance and the love that you're calling forth, and pretending like I'm in that now, living in the vision, whether it's there or not. And it always comes. And it always comes. So living in the vision. Vision is such a powerful tool. And I'm not talking about just visualizing for 10 minutes a day here and there. I'm talking about anchoring your vision into the present moment and embodying the expansiveness of that vision before it ever shows up. Because when you're in that expanded energy and you're living in that vision, reality has no choice but to bring that to you. I mean, you're already living in it. You're going to match up with it. You're going to line up with it. So pulling the future vision into the now and living it, that's a powerful tool.
Yeah, I love doing that. And I love doing that. I love when people come into my reality while I'm doing that, because it gives me an opportunity to really ground that energy in if I haven't already done so, and ruffle some feathers, which I also love doing. And I love that you bring up the part of like keeping your manifestations really secret and really private, because and this is where it comes back to the unconscious and being multidimensional. There's so many different aspects to your light self and to your shadow self. You have to embrace and acknowledge all of them, or they will come out in ways that you do not necessarily want, because you didn't choose, because it was unconscious. So bringing that up, that was a real powerful awareness for me several years ago, was how can I give this part of myself, this part of my shadow self that likes to be kind of real secretive and just like know things that people don't know and whatever, where can I put that energy, because that energy was coming out in all these other ways that were destructive to me. And so I just decided, like, well, I'm not going to share certain things that I manifest anymore. I'm going to keep X, Y, and Z really private, and just love it and share it and bond with it with me and enjoy it with me, because it's not about anybody else. It's about me. So I love that you bring that up. The other thing I really, what was just coming through that I was going to share? Oh, making things mean a different thing. That's another really powerful thing. I make the most random things mean something, because it really helps you stay in that energy, and it really helps you play in creation and creativity with your reality, and staying completely detached from how things may have always been or how you know things to be. Just give things ridiculous, silly meanings that work for you. How can I make this work for me? How can I make this bring me more abundance? How can I make this shift my energy? How can I make this? Because you're using that's an anchoring tool. You're anchoring
Mm-hmm.
yourself into a new reality when you make things, I mean, silly things like if your clothes come out of the laundry a certain way, or if the wind's blowing this way versus that way, or your cat yawns 3 times. I mean, where do you think superstitious things like came from to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So make those things mean something and they'll work for you. And the
Yeah.
other thing I love to do, I mean, I'm not going to go into how I do this. It's a little bit more advanced, but shifting realities right in front of my eyes, that is one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite things ever.
Yeah. Yeah, instant. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I really love to embody my shadow too. I think that that's something that,
Powerful.
it's really powerful. And I love to do shadow work with people. And by shadow work, I mean shadow integration. By shadow integration, I mean loving, embodying, and appreciating your shadow, because there's so much power there. That's really where the raw power that we're looking for is. It exists in our shadow. And if we're not tapping into that, I mean, that's so for me, like the keeping the manifestations private and secret and kind of knowing what I'm doing in my internal world. And like you were saying, sharing that with just myself and nobody knows. It's kind of like this fun little game that I get to play where it's like just me and my reality. And I'm like, and that's why it feels dark. It's just because it's internal. It's really not, it's just because it's internal. And so it feels fun to get into that powerful, sovereign, sensual energy. And the word, okay, I'm not going to say the words that are coming through, but I mean, it just, but I mean, getting into those darker parts of ourselves, those shadowy parts of ourselves, embodying those parts, and tapping into that, because there is so much aliveness there. And it's fun to play there. And that's what makes us whole human beings, is embodying all of that. And so playing in that energy with yourself too, and learning how to love those parts of you. I mean, there's sometimes that I'll have a whole day devoted to my dark goddess. I mean, that's all I will embody. And I won't even attempt to do or be or shift into anything else, because that feels so alive for me in those moments and on those days. And I just also trust that it's serving a purpose. Like, okay, well, I need to be in this energy today. And that's why I feel such a draw to it.
Totally. Yeah. And just knowing that that's okay. Like, that's okay to source your power. And that's where most of our power and energy comes from at the end of the day. That's why so many, and we touched on this last night, I'm not going to go into it too much, but that's why so many spiritual people are still suffering, so to speak. You have
Oh yeah, for sure.
and
That's, yeah.
as we're talking, also just the awareness for you all that when you're in the electric state, there's light energy to that and shadow energy to that. When you're in the magnetic state, there's light energy to that and there's shadow energy to that. You need to be willing to utilize and encompass and embody all of that, play with all of that, right? This is not just like a one push button here. There's several mechanics to play with to your energy field.
Something else that's coming through too is to walk around expanded. And so I'm going to do my best to explain this and have it land, but it's having the recognition that you are all that is, right? Everything, your environment, the people in it, the walls, the floor, the grass, the trees, the stars, the mountains. So walking around with your energetic body fully expanded into and through all other aspects of your creation, literally making yourself and your energy field that big. So walking around in your expanded state, in your I am presence, is powerful.
Yeah, just imagine your energy soaking up the walls of the room you're in, or the entire building that you walk into. Or, I mean, these are just kind of some simple things to just get you used to expanding out if you're not used to that. You know, feeling into the energy of all the trees that you're standing by. Like, how big would you be if you were the entire city, the entire state? That's one of the reasons why I love this new place I moved into. Is we have 9-foot ceilings, which is awesome. Just like so much, like I can breathe. I'm like, more space for me to take up.
Yeah. Well, and so I want to use the word penetrating here, because that's what it feels like when I expand my energy out. It's literally like my energy starts penetrating through everything. So it's almost like rays coming out of the sun, but my energy is penetrating through, radiating through, shining through all other aspects of consciousness and creation, and therefore influencing them. So that's so imagine your energy being so big that it's, I mean, and this is really getting deep into sovereignty too, because when you are exuding your energy in that way and staying in that expanded state, then, I mean, you're going to be at choice, right? Because think about it. Most people shrink their energy back and hold their energy in, which makes them easily influence. It's easier for other aspects of consciousness to then influence them. And then they're adapting to their environment. So when you expand your energy out in that way, you become a powerful influencer. And it's almost like, I mean, you're breaking through all the boundaries, and it's
realizing you're so much more beyond the physical reality, and that the physical reality is not stopping you or impeding you in
right.
your energy.
That's exactly it. They're saying you either be big with your energy and influence it, or the energy will influence you. So it's influence or be influenced. And at certain points in time, it'll be a dance.
Yeah.
And you need to listen and tune into when the energy is trying to give you instruction on when you do need to be influenced. Like today, I needed to rest, and I needed to, and me, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to create, but I recognized in that moment that the energy was trying to support me, and then I needed to allow it to influence me in that moment, but it was influencing me in a positive way. And I was aware that that's what was happening. So what I'm speaking to with the sovereignty piece is exactly what you just said, is when you expand your energy out in that way, and you don't become, you're not getting, interfered with from your environment. You're the one who is asserting your influence.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, this was a nice chill convo. That's what happens on receiving days.
Exactly. Like, perfect topic for the perfect day. Yeah.
Yeah, super relaxed. The one thing I want to pull through too real quick is if there's something that you want to call it in, say that you want it, state that you want it, stay open to your guidance, listen to yourself, and to release the resistance and all the attachment. Just stop caring. Just stop caring.
Yeah.
And I please take this in context. I'm saying, don't make your whole world about that thing. Let go, be okay with, if it comes, great. If it doesn't, great. And that'll help you it'll help it to just flow right in.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Just let it go. Just let it go.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to receiving.
I'm going to go do some witchy things. Now I'm feeling inspired to.
I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the wind. Tell her I said hello.
Oh, she says hello back. Yeah. It's totally, today is one of those like classic Pacific Northwest days where it's like,
man, I miss those.
super windy, downpour rain, cloudy, like you just want to snuggle up by the fire all day and like read a good book, which is what I was doing earlier. So that's beautiful.
Yes, it sounds amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for those of you watching, we still have a few spaces left in our inner circle. We would love to have
Mhm.
you if you're ready for that next wave of next level of expansion, of staying balanced in the energies we were talking about today, of just instantly
Mhm.
creating and harnessing really all of the energy you have available to work for you. No
Mhm.
longer having impediments or having to wait around or having self doubt with those new ideas and that new energy, knowing that everything is possible and seeing it actually be created with real,
Mhm.
logical, grounded steps of action in a really
Yeah.
supportive, yummy, high vibe sisterhood circle that we've created. So we'll put the links in below for that. That starts on November 1st for 3 months. So you definitely want to get in now if you're interested. Um,
Mhm.
and with that, we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.